Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and welcome back to another review, the last review of the House movies. Now, I actually enjoyed the first three. The first two I think are a lot of fun. The first one, William Katt, has a good story, pretty well written, has a good sense of horror and humor. House 2 I thought was fun. And House 3, aka The Horror Show, I do enjoy that as well. Lance Henriksen I thought knocked it out of the park. Brian James I like. And yeah, it reminded me of Shocker, but I love Shocker, so I'm fine with that. This one, I guess it's a little bit of a rant. I mean, I don't have any vitriol hatred for the film. I definitely think it's the weakest of the House movies. It's of the House movies, it's the one I don't really care for. But I'm still glad to have it for the collection, thanks to my friend Mike OCP. For those wondering, this is region free. This is from the 4-disc set of House that he got, which had a Blu-ray and a DVD copy, and is region free. Worked on my Blu-ray player. While this is the American release by Arrow, which has the first two. I think in the U.S. they can only get the first two because the Horror Show, that's actually with Scream Factory, because they released a Blu-ray of that, but unfortunately that's the cut version, not the more uncut version from overseas. Anyway, House 4 here is called The Repossession. It's directed by a guy named Lewis Abernathy, who he was going to direct Deep Star 6, and he wanted to direct that, but then Sean Cunningham, the producer, said, nah, you're not going to do that. And then I think Robert Harmon, the guy who directed The Hitcher, the original, the classic The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer, he was going to direct Deep Star 6, but something happened. I'm not really sure why, or what, or how. And then Sean S. Cunningham himself directed Deep Star 6, but he told the he told Lewis Abernathy, one day I'm going to give you the chance to direct a film. And that film happened to be House 4. Now, of course, they ran into a little bit of a boggle, a little bit of trouble, because in the U.S., technically there was not a House 3. I mean, there was, it's called The Horror Show, while overseas it was called House 3. But to the general public, they saw House 1, House 2, some film called The Horror Show. Now they go to House 4. And people would ask, where the fuck is House 3? Of course, that's The Horror Show with Lance Henriksen. And I know I repeat myself, but I enjoy those 3 movies for different reasons. This one, it's much ado about nothing, and it does... The previous films had silly stuff, but this one I just didn't really find much of a charm. And like, the Horror Show was trying to be more intense, and I appreciated that. The first 2 are more fun. This one, I just had ideas I thought were just really silly or dumb. And altogether, I don't have a vitriol hatred for the film, but I definitely feel it's the weakest of the 4. And I didn't really care much about it. William Katt, who was in the first movie, he's in this one. And his character is the same name as his character in the first one, Roger Cobb. But it is a different character, because in the first film he has a son. Here he has a daughter who's a teenager. And he has a different wife, and in this one he has a brother, and the house is not the house from the first one. This is a house that takes place in a very different area, like in the middle of... It seemed like in the middle of nowhere, while in the first one it was... I mean, it's... What happened was, they had written the script, they were getting ready to make the film, and Sean S. Cunningham told the director, Lewis Abernathy, hey, let's get William Katt in here. That way we can market it as the star of House Returns and House 4. And the director goes, well, wait a minute, we already cast the family, and we haven't cast the dad yet, but he had a son and a different wife. Oh, that's okay. And that's how these stupid things happen. Because if you're a fan of House 1, if you're a fan of this movie, and you watch this, and you're like, wait a minute, that's William Katt, but where's his son? And how did he get a daughter? And he's named the same character, but yet he's a very different character? It just confuses the shit out of people, and it's just... That's a bad way to make a film. It is. So confusion abounds there. For those wondering, there is an audio commentary, which I haven't listened to yet, with the director. There's also a little 20-some making of featurette, which is funny. Real quick note, when you pop this DVD in, and it goes to the documentary, and then it tells you some text of who's interviewed on it. The text they tell is interviews from House 2. Because they go, features interviews with producer-director Ethan Wiley and stars R.E. Gross and Jonathan Stark. So the info they give you on the DVD is interviews for House 2, but when you click on it, it is a documentary and interviews for House 4. So I guess it shows how little Arrow gave a shit about House 4 as well, because they screwed that up badly. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's just something funny that I noticed. I mean, getting to the film itself, William Katt has a daughter, teenager daughter, and wife. I thought the actress who played the wife actually did a decent job. I don't think she was a bad actress. William Katt is being pressured by his brother to sell. William Katt doesn't want to sell because his dad told him not to sell. Which again makes you, well, wait a minute. In the first film, it was his aunt's house. Now it's his dad. So again, this is not the same. It's the same name, but it's not the same character as in the first House. I guess it's alternate universe William Katt. Alternate universe Great American Hero. Alternate universe Roger Cobb. Alternate universe of House 1. So it's just very weird. But he's like, I made a promise to Dad. You can't put a price on my roots. The brother gets pissed. William Katt is driving with his wife and daughter. And they have this friend who's a Native American who tells about how the Great Spirit will guide you. The three are driving. William Katt, he's fine for the bit role, and it is a bit role. He's in it for maybe the first 10 minutes, and then they get into a car crash. The daughter gets paralyzed. Her and the wife get out, and William Katt blows up in the car. So he shows up in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and he shows up at the end of the movie as a ghost. And then a good 10, 20 minutes of maybe 20 minutes of the film is the mom having nightmares. At one point, the girl is daydreaming. There's this auction going on at their house, and she's looking at the kids playing and daydreaming, while seeing the kids using their legs. And the mom's having nightmares because William Katt's character was in intensive care, and she had to sign for them to pull the plug because there's nothing that could be done. So she's having nightmares about that. The first really supernatural thing that happens to her, or at least one of the things, I forget if it was an urn or something, or pottery. It falls to the ground, and this pile of ash or dirt, she reaches down and a hand comes up, grabs her. She gets out, turns, and there's nothing there. And then she's wondering, is she going crazy? You have this really quirky plumber who talks about how you treat your plumbing with care. It'll give you years of pleasure, like a good woman. I'm like, it is kind of I like the actor. It's kind of a quirky little character. Never appears again. He has this really annoying jingle because they get pizza, and it's one of those things where the pizza guy has to sing. He's like, I'm your pizza man, I'm your pizza man. So later on, the daughter, who's in a wheelchair, she's singing that song. I'm like, I really found this song very annoying. Fucking annoying. And then the pizza starts singing. And the mom opens the pizza, and there's a face on the pizza. Now, the face is actually Kane Hodder. I think the voice is Harry Manfredini, because he did the... For those who don't know, of course, Harry Manfredini did the score to many of the Friday the 13th films. He did the score to House, and he did the score to this. And I believe he does the voice while it's Kane Hodder's face on this pizza. And that's where I'm like, come on, man. like, we've gone to some really cool monsters in House 1 and 2, and aside from that laugh, a pretty cool Brian James as a killer in the horror show. Granted, that laugh's like, but like Peter Griffin almost, but I still really like Brian James as the villain. You know, Meat Cleaver Max. To a pizza man, like a killer pizza. I mean, this is like, I mean, remind me of the Ninja Turtles cartoon from the 80s, Attack of the Killer Pizzas. Like a face on a pizza. What, is he going to grow up to be Pizza the Hut and Spaceballs? I mean, come on, man. And then, like, she's stabbing it, and then she puts it down in the garbage disposal, and then pieces of the pizza grab her and try to pull her into the disposal. And then jumping ahead, this is a weird thing, because at first this house tries to kill them. You know, trying to drag her into the garbage disposal. Later on, she's taking a shower, and there's this blood and scaring the shit out of her. This blood coming out of the shower, going on her. Or this point where the little girl goes into the bed, and she's trying to get her out of the bed, and she's stabbing in the bed. Then she's about to stab one more time the mom. Well, the mom's about ready to stab, and then she realizes everything's fine, her daughter's there. And the house was ready to trick her into stabbing her own daughter. And that's why the woman, you know, breaks down and cries, and the daughter doesn't know what's going on. But the mom, again, this house was ready to trick her into stabbing her own daughter. So the house is ready to kill them, but then at certain times the house helps them as well. Like these two guys, the reason William Katt's brother wanted badly for William Katt to sell is because, of course, it's funny, the guy's name is Bert, which made me think of Aliens. You know, Paul Reiser's dickhead character, he was called Bert as well. So William Katt's brother, his name is Bert. Bert is working for this toxic waste. He's working for these people who want to dump some toxic waste. And Bert goes, well, I have a place. You could dump it. I'll demolish the house. You could dump it here. It'll be a place for you to dump your toxic waste. But of course, William Katt wouldn't sell. And later on, you find out him and these two cronies shot the tires out, and that's why the car crashed. So this dickhead Bert, he's fine with killing his own brother and family. He's a fucking douchebag. And at one point, these two cronies go into the house, and one's dressed up as a bug mask, and one has a snake mask. And they steer the shit out of the girl in the wheelchair. And then the house, for some reason, decides to protect. And this dog with a lamp on its head starts chasing them. They try to shoot it. It doesn't work. And they chase these two guys out of the house. And again, it's like, okay, they say that William Katt's spirit is trapped. So is William Katt sometimes helping them out, and then the house being a dick? But at the same time, it's like the house wants to kill them anyway, but then the house wants to be... It doesn't seem like it knows what it wants to do. And just silly stuff. I mean, the pizza monster... This is one where, speaking of the toxic waste, there's a moment where they show, like, we're gonna make progress through chemicals, and they literally spray paint non-toxic waste. Like, it says toxic waste, and they spray paint non on it. As if that makes a fucking difference. And like, you have this weird small person as the boss, who has this weird gunk coming out of his throat. And he has like this tube, and he takes this like gunk out into this thing. And because Bert pissed him off, they have him hold down and put the gunk into the guy's mouth. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? What the fuck? And then, you know, at one point she decides to sell the house. I'm like, well, why wouldn't she? But then William Katt, I guess his ghost appears to help and shows her home movies. And I'm like, well, so again, the house wants to kill her, but then, like, where was William Katt's ghost in trying to help? Like, when she's about ready to stab her daughter? I think there's one quick thing with a seance. I guess that's when See, it's not really clear to me. Maybe it's clear to other people, but it wasn't that clear to me. I mean, if I can assume, the house was ready to kill her. They wanted her and her daughter. They wanted her and the daughter out, and then was ready to trick her into killing her daughter, but she snapped out at the nick of time. And then she talked to this Native American guy who talks about how long ago there's this healing spring that's underneath it, and it's sealed up. And she, of course, wants to sell. Makes sense. But before she does this kind of little seance. I guess that's now William Cat is going to help her. I guess. Because that's when the house starts helping. Or I guess it's William Cat using the house to start helping. Because then after that, when she says, no, I'm not going to sell you the house, she's shown what happened that night in the car crash, that the tires were shot out, and that William Cat's brother and these two cronies are to blame. Those two cronies go into a basement, and they start seeing stuff. One guy sees snakes, one guy sees bugs, and they turn on each other. And one guy sees that that guy is a bug, and that guy sees that this guy is a snake, and they start shooting at each other, and they kill each other. And they were going to douse the basement on flames, and it starts going on fire. And the mom is trying to get in. And again, it seems like the house is being a dick, where it closes the door and does this, and she can't get through. But then William Cat comes in a very white suit, and those sort of typical vision of heaven where everything's white. And he's like, you gotta. This is what I said. He appears at the beginning of the film. He appears here at the end of the film. You gotta go back. You gotta save our daughter. So she gets to the door, gets the daughter. Then the seal under the house breaks, and this geyser shoots up. It hits the daughter's legs, and it heals her legs. So now she can walk. They get out. I guess William Cat's ghost tricked the brother Burke into thinking he was getting to a car to talk to his boss, but really he snitched and talked about, a confession to the cops. And William Cat's dressed up as a policeman, and the mom and daughter see William Cat, and then William Cat waves, and he pretty much. Have you seen The Wraith? You remember the beginning of The Wraith where you had this light coming from the sky and go down to the ground? He kind of does that, like turns to a little ball of light and goes into the sky. Spirit in the sky, I guess. So it's not as if I've seen much worse movies, and I've seen much worse sequels, but at the same time, I'm thinking, I guess I would only see this if I'm doing a house marathon, but I don't think, I want to get the actress's name, because I don't think she was that bad. But William Cat, for the little bit he's in, he's fine. The woman who plays the wife, she did fine. Terry Trias, well, she did fine. The daughter, other than when she was singing that annoying jingle, which I hated, that pizza man. Other than that, she was alright. There's this other woman that is friends with the family, and later on you find out she's actually an undercover FBI agent looking into this toxic waste thing. That's actually Denny Dillon, who I think was on SNL. I could be wrong. Yeah, she was on Saturday Night Live from 1980 to 1981, so very quickly. But she was in, the 1980-1981 year, and she's done little bit parts and stuff. She was in United 93. Yeah, she was a voice in Ice Age. She was on the TV show Dream On. She was on that for quite a few years. So, yeah. But I thought she did fine as well. Lewis Abernathy. I'm trying to see what else he's done. He was a visual effects supervisor on The Star Crystal. Are you fucking kidding me? An additional cinematographer. Oh my god. I cannot believe it. There's a link between this and the Star Crystal. I will say this. This is a much better movie than the Star Crystal. You're like, what's the Star Crystal? I have a rant. I think it's still up on this channel. Where the fucking alien that kills people and then reads an electronic Bible and then becomes a Jehovah's Witness knocking on your door. I have that rant is still on my channel. If you want to look it up, it's a true unbelievable piece of shit. I cannot believe it. He worked on that. This was the only film he directed. He wrote Deep Star 6. That's why he wanted to direct it. Okay. And he was an actor in Titanic. And I guess he's in the documentary Ghosts of the Abyss. So. And the lead girl, Terry Trias, okay, she was on that TV show of Alien Nation. She was Kathy Frankel. She was one of the spotted-headed aliens. I think she was the one who was in love with the detective in that TV show. And yeah, she was in the TV movies as well. Alien Nation, Dark Horizon, Body and Soul, Millennium, The Enemy Within, and the Udara Legacy. I like Alien Nation. I haven't seen the TV show in forever, though. Or those TV movies in forever. But yeah, shut up, computer. The movie just... fantasy-wise, creature effects-wise, what do you really get? You get a hand coming out of some dust, the pizza man with a pizza face, and then when it's trying to go in the disposal, some things grab her arm, lead girl's arm. Oh, this one weird nightmare scene where she has to write she's writing the piece of paper to get her husband off life support, and then like the nurse becomes William Katt's brother, Bert, and these two cronies are breaking shit. Just a weird nightmare. The snake and bug scene that I told about. I mean, it's really not the dog with the fucking lamp on his head. It felt cheap. It felt pretty lame. It wasn't really funny. It wasn't really that entertaining. The actors are doing the best I think they're doing the best they can, but it's not much of a movie. It's not much of a script. And it's a film that was not needed, not wanted, and didn't ever need to exist. It has a low rating on IMDb. That's perfectly understandable. It's one of those things where, at the time I'm doing this, because I'm pre-recording some of these, I just saw Alien Covenant. So, maybe I'm more lenient on this than I would have been, but I would rather watch this than Alien Covenant. I shit you not, because I thought at least it's a low-budget direct-to-video film. It has a reason. Maybe not a good reason, but I'll give more leniency to a cheap direct-to-video movie from the 90s than an almost $100 million 2017 movie by the guy who directed Alien and Blade Runner. So, I mean, I don't think it's a good movie. I really don't. It's just not much to know about. And I'm just going to be repeating myself. But that's my thoughts on House 4. Easily the weakest of the 4. I don't think the actors were that bad. But it's just the script, the story, William Katt, he's like the same name, but it's a different character. And is the house helping them, but then the house wants to kill him, and then, maybe William Katt's helping him now, but then this one thing, and then the whole toxic waste thing. I'm like, man, I'd rather watch Men at Work with Emilio Estevez that deals with toxic waste. And then the fantasy stuff that happens, it's really lame and weak and nothing remotely trying to be scary or funny, and just a lame movie. That's really what I would call this, a lame flick. I mean, I'm glad to have it for the collection, but it's a lame flick. But that's just my thoughts on House 4. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.